I love you all more than I love myself.
Rise to fame, controversial
You all mean the
moments,
world to me.
and tragic death. From his raw music to his legacy as a father and artist, this is the full story behind the late rap icon. Jahseh Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy was born on January 23, 1998, in Plantation, Florida. Raised by a single mother in a tough neighborhood, his early life was anything but easy. His father was in and out of prison, and Jahseh often found himself bouncing between homes, relatives, and juvenile detention centers. Even as a kid, he struggled with anger, depression, and violence. At just 6 years old, he stabbed a man who threatened his mother. That intensity would follow him for the rest of his life. Music became his outlet. He was introduced to artists like Tupac, Nirvana, and Lil Wayne. But he didn't just listen, he felt it. And soon, he started creating his own sound. His style was chaotic, emotional, and genre-bending, just like his life. XXXTentacion's music journey began where many modern rap careers do, on SoundCloud. Around 2013, still a teenager, he started uploading tracks that didn't sound like anything else. One of the biggest turning points in his life came in juvenile detention, where he met Ski Mask the Slump God. The two bonded instantly, and later formed the underground collective known as Minifame. Jahseh took on the name XXXTentacion, meaning unknown temptation in Latin, a name that reflected the chaos inside him. He dropped raw, emotional songs like Vice City, which gained a small following, but it wasn't until his breakout track, Look at Me, that everything changed. The track exploded online, wild, distorted, and unapologetic, just like X. In early 2017, Look at Me went viral, turning XXXTentacion into an underground sensation overnight. The distorted 808s, aggressive flow, and rebellious energy felt like a sonic punch to the face. Fans were instantly hooked. But while his music was exploding, X was behind bars, locked up for multiple charges including assault and witness tampering. Ironically, jail became part of his legend. When he got out, he was already a star. He soon dropped his debut album, 17, filled with raw emotion, suicide notes in song form, and stripped-down beats. It was a sharp turn from the chaos of his earlier tracks, and it showed a new side of him. The industry didn't know what to make of him, but fans? They saw him as a voice for the broken, a symbol of pain, rage, and vulnerability. While XXXTentacion's music was taking over the internet, his personal life was spiraling. His name was constantly in headlines, and not for the music. In 2016, he was arrested for aggravated battery of a pregnant woman, later revealed to be his then-girlfriend, Geneva Ayala. The case included disturbing allegations of abuse and torture, stories that shocked even his biggest fans. Throughout 2017 and 2018, X faced a mountain of legal battles, multiple felonies, house arrest, and strict court supervision. The world was divided. Some saw him as an unredeemable abuser. Others believed he was a young man trying to change. XXXTentacion himself acknowledged his demons, but insisted he was evolving. Love him or hate him, he couldn't be ignored. He was the most talked about artist of a generation, for better or worse. From screaming over distorted beats, 2018, he released Question Mark, which debuted at #1 on Billboard. It showed the full range of his creativity: emo, rock, lo-fi, R&B, and even acoustic ballads. Tracks like Sad, Moonlight, Changes proved that he was more than a trend. He was a true artist. X wasn't just making music, he was opening wounds, and in doing so, he created a space for young people to feel seen. Despite his fame, XXXTentacion didn't live the flashy rapper lifestyle. He wasn't obsessed with chains or Ferraris. Instead, he lived quietly in South Florida, often isolating himself to focus on music, self-reflection, and healing. X was a walking contradiction, calm yet explosive, violent but loving, lost but spiritual. He often spoke about energy, karma, and the power of growth. He began promoting messages of peace and positivity, even launching charity drives, community events, and surprise visits to fans in hospitals and schools. But he also admitted that he was still battling his dark side, and that his past wasn't something to hide, but something to learn from. By 2018, XXXTentacion seemed different, calmer, more focused, determined to leave behind a better version of himself than the one the world first met. XXXTentacion's love life was as complicated as his music. His most public relationship was with Geneva Ayala, the woman at the center of the abuse allegations, a relationship filled with pain, trauma, and controversy. After their split, X eventually found peace with Genesis Sanchez,
a quiet, more private relationship. By the time of his death, Genesis was pregnant with their child, a son X would never meet. Just 3 days after what would have been X's 21st birthday, his son Gekyume Onfroy was born, on January 26, 2019. X had spoken often about wanting to be a better man and a better father. Though he didn't live to raise his child, his legacy lives on through Gekyume. On June 18, 2018, XXXTentacion was leaving a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Just moments after pulling out of the parking lot, his car was blocked in by another vehicle. 2 masked men approached. After a brief struggle, X was shot multiple times. The attackers stole a Louis Vuitton bag filled with $50,000 in cash. He was just 20 years old. The news of his death sent shockwaves across the world. Fans flooded social media with heartbreak. Artists like Kanye West, J. Cole, and Travis Barker paid tribute. Even his critics paused, because whatever you thought of X, you couldn't ignore the impact he had made. 4 suspects were eventually arrested, tried, and convicted for his murder. But for his millions of fans, no trial could bring back what was lost. XXXTentacion's life was messy, complicated, and painful, but his death marked the end of one of the most raw and real voices of a generation. In just a few years, XXXTentacion transformed from a SoundCloud rebel into a cultural icon. Despite the controversy, his music touched millions, helping people deal with depression, heartbreak, and trauma. And light, chaotic yet creative, he lived fast, felt everything, and died young. But in that short time, he sparked a movement that's still felt today. Whether you saw him as a villain or a visionary, one thing's clear: XXXTentacion changed music forever. His pain became poetry, his flaws became fuel, his voice, though silenced, still speaks for millions. What do you think? Was X a troubled kid who couldn't outrun his past, or a misunderstood artist searching for redemption? If you felt this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Minifame. We bring you the real lives behind the legends every week.